Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville. And today we're going to be talking about loans available for small business owners in the Nashville area specifically. And I'm joined today by my partner and friend over at Pathway Lending, Thomas Sheffield. If you aren't familiar with Pathway, we're going to make sure you get familiar with them today. And also, we want you to get familiar with the small business growth funding that's available through Pathway that's been made available through the city of Nashville. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about, what it takes to get approved, why some folks haven't been getting approved, who's a good fit for this funding, all those things. And we're going to do it pretty quickly. So we're not going to keep you all day talking about this. So let's jump on in, Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Danielle.
Absolutely. So can you give us a little background on this pool of funding, where it came from and kind of the purpose in the funding?
Actually, this started back in February of last year. Metro Council and the mayor decided that they did receive some American Rescue Plan money, and they decided they wanted to put a portion of it into the small business community here in Davidson County. So they chose Pathway to be the administrator of the funds. Last year, we had a wonderful amount of money to go out towards grants. It was like $9 million in grants. So we had over 450 applicants to get approved for the grants, but we still had about 1,000 people that didn't get approved. So that was just a small drop in the bucket. But now we've moved on from that free money to almost free money. It's cheap money. It's 2% interest money. And we have had $9 million available for small businesses in Davidson County to have access to the funds. So since then, we have loaned out a little bit over $2 million. So we still have money available. And again, the best thing about it is it's really cheap money. It's 2% interest.
And I'm telling you, like 2% is super cheap right now
You will
in
not
this
find
economy.
that. That's right. You won't
Yeah.
find that. I think the Fed is scheduled to. They're even talking about
On
raising the
another hike.
rates again.
Yeah.
So 2% is something that you can only find during emergency or a pandemic or something like that. But I don't foresee that happening again anytime soon, where that's that cheap.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you something because I put it out into Black People Making Moves Facebook group last week to just ask the question about the apprehension that Black people have around borrowing money. Um, I think that it's important we talk about why folks aren't borrowing, because
Right.
there was a lot of intentionality with these loans and the grants specifically to reach the Black business community or the minority community in Nashville. So
Mhm.
the city partnered with Corner to Corner, with Black Business Boom, NBIC, the
The equity
Equity
alliance.
Alliance, the Hispanic Chamber. They partnered with all these community partners to get the word out. And that's what we've been trying to do over the last 9 months
Yes.
now. And we're still not seeing, a lot of applicants to apply and be
Right.
approved for this. So a lot of the feedback I got was, businesses not being ready. They're being more in the startup phase of things, not having the proper documentation. A lot of things in that area, but it also was a lot that goes back to the mindset of Black people, and I don't say that in a bad way at all. But we've been taught since all of our lives,
Yes.
don't go borrowing no money, don't be owing nobody no
Right.
money,
Right.
unnecessarily.
Right.
And I understand that fully as a small business owner, as a Black person. But I want to tell folks that, like, I launched my first business 10 years ago, and I couldn't wait to take a loan, to be able to, like, I couldn't believe when I went to a CDFI in Chicago and applied for a loan for my first business, that they were willing to give me $10,000. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't
Mhm.
wait to take it
Right.
because I knew if I had the money, then I could invest it in the things I needed to grow my business. And that's exactly what I did. So I think part of the gap is, we've been taught not to borrow money, but part of it is also we are really not clear and don't have the technical assistance that we need to deploy that capital in a way that we are positive we gonna be able to pay it back. Like if we
Sure.
felt if somebody was willing to give me $10,000 and I knew I could go flip that 10,000 and make it into even 20, I would take it. And I think that
Right.
there's a lot of uncertainty for business owners in that regard. But then also there's uncertainty in people thinking that they won't get approved. So
Well, the in the church we were taught the borrower is a slave to the lender, right? So that makes us always hesitant on taking a chance to borrow the money. Now, on the flip side of that, you know, the if I can make more money off of your money than using my own money, then there's no loss there. Like you said, like you did, you had to flip the money yourself. So if you can devise a way to make more money off of somebody else's money, then that's the smart thing to do. And a lot of savvy business owners understand that. And with 2% interest money, you could typically, I mean, if you had to, you could take that and put that into a CD where it's making 4 or 5% interest. I mean,
yeah.
you see, that's the mindset of making money with that interest rate.
Right. And I'm
And
telling you, we talked about that. Like you could literally just go take it and let it sit in an investment until you
yeah,
need it, you know?
absolutely, you could. But um, Metro, the council, and the mayor, they understood that we're coming out of a pandemic, so a lot of businesses are hurting, or have gone into debt, or have made some choices that may not have been the best choice, but may have been the best at the time. So certain things have the criteria for the loans has changed. An example of that with this loan program, the credit score that's required is only 600. Typically, if you're in a borrowing at a bank or any other institution, they would like for it to be a 640 or higher in order to get that loan. Also, they're looking at your debt to income ratio. Typically, at a bank, your debt to income ratio means that out of all the income that you're receiving, how much of that are you spending on debt? Well, typically, banks would say 40% is the maximum amount that you could use to spend on debt. So, by debt, we're talking credit cards, student loans, car loans, anything like that is debt. So, we look at that. With this program, the debt to income ratio has been moved up to 60%. So,
Yeah,
that's
let's
another.
pause there for a minute, Thomas,
Okay,
because
sure.
I want to talk about that because that's a really important point. The debt to income and something that we really have to understand, right? Because they're gonna ask for your tax returns at Pathways. They're gonna ask for them wherever you go if you're going to borrow money, and they're looking at what you reported on those tax returns as your income, right? So they're gonna
Yeah,
ask you for 2 years of your tax returns and they're looking at that bottom line on your taxes on that schedule C, if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC or however you're filing, they're looking at the bottom line, right? And
right.
so one other thing we've been taught that we got to unlearn is writing off everything, because many times we go and we write off so much to avoid paying taxes. And I was taught that very early as a business owner, very early on. Someone told me, just write it all off. You won't have to pay no taxes. But what they didn't tell me is if I want to go buy a house, I want to go buy a car, or I want to borrow money for my business, or if I even want to sell the business at some point, then I'm setting myself up for disaster. And
Right.
so we're writing things off because we've been told to reduce our tax liability, which everybody hate taxes, but it's part of life. But we shoot ourselves in the foot many times by writing off a lot of things that somebody like Thomas can't put back in to the loan package and now it's looking like we made no money last
Hmm.
year. So
Hmm.
we can be hurting ourselves on the business side as well as for our personal purchases for property or in cars as well.
That's true. You have to show profitability, right? Um, you have to be able to show the ability to pay a loan back. And those are the things that you need to think about when you're filing your taxes. I mean, accountants will do what you tell them to do. If there's something to write off that they can use for you, they're going to do that for you. However, we must show some sort of income, some sort of revenue that justifies the amount of money that you would like to have. And many times we just like you said, we shoot ourselves in the foot because we're trying to be smart, but it's not at the same time it's not showing that profit. So yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
I
watch
think
out.
always thinking ahead. And, I'm always transparent about my own personal situations where I was last year gearing up to file my taxes. And I had to go to my husband and say, are we planning to buy a house or anything? Because I sure don't want to pay these taxes. I know I'm good, on the business side. I won't need to borrow anything, but are we planning to make some moves where I need to borrow some money because I'm not trying, I can either write all this stuff off or I'll go ahead and pay this $10,000 in taxes. What do you want to do here?
Now,
So sometimes it comes down to just looking ahead to the future.
now, at the same time, as you're going to a lender to ask for money, you have to also think of it as a lender. Would a lender offer me money in the shape that I'm in and what I'm presenting? So you have to put your lender hat on if you can. Lenders have what we call a fiduciary responsibility. So I'm responsible to basically to Metro to make sure that the money is going out to people that can pay it back and that qualify for it. So we're looking at your total package, not only your tax returns, your business debt schedule, and your personal financial statement. Those are other documents that we look at to verify and to understand how much debt, what your debt to income ratio would be, and how much of a loan that we could actually, make sure that you get. So think of it as a lender. Think of it as how would a lender look at this? Would I get a favorable rating with the information that I supply to them?
But I'll tell you, Thomas, I think part of it is that we just don't know how to do that, how to look at it as a lender because we just haven't been taught how to look at things from that perspective and what they're looking for. I think another question I've gotten specifically around this fund is why it can't just be turned into grant money. And we've had conversations about that and the fact that the purpose of the money is to be able to relend it in the community and help additional people.
That's exactly
Um,
right.
yeah. So you
Um,
want to tell us a
yeah,
little bit more about
yeah.
that?
So with the grants that was a great thing. I mean, but you really have no control over what people do with the money. They're not actually putting it back necessarily in Davidson County. They're not investing it in things from Davidson County. But with a loan, we will loan it out to you, and as you pay it back, it goes into a different fund that stays in Davidson County that we can reloan or put back out into the same area. That's one of the wonderful things that I really applaud the mayor and the council about is they had the foresight to see that they wanted to keep the money here in Davidson County, some of the money here in Davidson County. What better way than to keep lending it out to more and more businesses as they need it so that the business community will grow. I actually believe that that's one of the best things about Nashville is our small business community, our ecosystem of small businesses.
Mhm.
And this ecosystem here is so strong, it's bringing larger businesses in, which is more taxes that are coming in so that we can improve on things like our roads and our schools and things, the infrastructure here.
If they
So,
make sure that they pay taxes.
yeah,
Let me not go there. I'm sorry.
yeah, if it wasn't for the small business community, none of
Yeah,
that would be a part of it.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I'm all for making sure that the money can stay here in Nashville and go to as many businesses that need it as they need it.
And also, I think there is a great distinction between how the money was intended to be spent. So the grant money was for recovery for folks that were impacted by the pandemic and, needed money to recover, while the loan funds are to help you grow your business. So
It's
if you
for
need to
growth.
go and
Yes.
buy a vehicle for your business, if you need to hire somebody else, if you need to invest in technology, get a property, expand to another location, things like
What
that. So
whatever's
that's
going to
what that
bring value to your business. I mean, if you're, I don't know, a beauty shop or a barber shop, and you need software, or you want to buy an app, or have some sort of way to make payments electronically, or set your appointments electronically, whatever it's going to do to make your business more efficient and make it grow. That's what this money's for, and that's
yeah.
what we want you to do with it. And as you grow, in the future, you can even borrow more money for the next huge project that you have. So the money is going to be here, and we have a lot of money here at Pathway that we're able to lend out for needs like that.
I love it. I love it. So again, 2% loans available to small businesses here in Nashville. You do have to have been in existence since September 2019, right, Thomas?
Yeah, September
Um,
30th.
yep, there we go. September 30th, 2019. You do have to show your tax returns. You all also would like to, or you have to show that you are a real business. So you do have to show documentation of being registered with the state of Tennessee, or at least having a business license in Davidson County
Right.
since September 30th, 2019. Um, and then you don't require a business plan, but I think you all really would like to see one. Is
Yeah,
that
you don't have to have one, but we'd like to, that would help us out to understand your business a little bit better. And as Danielle said, you have to be in business since September. We want to look at 2 years tax returns. Now, the good news is, if you made more money in 22, we'll look at 22 as opposed to just looking at 20 and 21. So we can look at it that way. And then also, this is for businesses that made less than $1 million in the previous year. The council and the mayor were thinking about smaller businesses as opposed to the ones that you find on Broadway. Okay, so you have to be less than $1 million, and you can borrow up to 20%. This is very important. Up to 20% of the previous year's revenue. So if you made 500,000, or if you made $1 million, I'll make it simple. You can borrow up to $200,000. If you made 100,000, you can borrow up to $20,000. So you can actually get up to 20% of the previous year's, not net, but the total revenue. And what we'll do is we'll look at all the numbers and make sure they work so that you're above that or below that 60% debt to income ratio. And we also have to make sure that you have that 600 credit score or higher. Another thing that we run into is ownership. If you're in a partnership or you're a limited liability company that has more than one owner, if the other owners own more than 20% of the company, then they would also need to submit their taxes as well. Okay, so we'd also need like uh,
partnership
a
agreement?
partnership agreement. Thank you. So to show who owns what and how much their percentage is. Okay, so we would need those things in order to process the loan. I know it may seem like a lot of things that's required. However, like I said, we have a fiduciary responsibility to Pathway, to the board of directors here, as well as to Metro. So we want to make sure that everything is correct on the front end. But as soon as we get all that information, that's great.
No, I mean, I've been through much more strenuous lending processes, to be honest with you. So I think while it may seem like a lot, it can definitely set you up for success in the
Yes,
future. And again,
it's
I
worth
mean,
it.
I'm very clear in telling folks that I took a business loan, and it helped me to grow my first business, but having a plan for how you're going to spend that money is really important as well,
Of course.
because I've also gotten money and just blown through it,
Who
trying
hasn't?
stuff,
Yeah, who
like,
hasn't? I
let's see
mean,
how this works.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think this will help. And then,
yeah.
next thing you know, the money is gone. You still got to pay it back. So I think, again, that's what a lot of us fear. And I get that because I've been there as well. So it's really about, planning for how you're going to use the money and have it work for you. And something you mentioned earlier is just about our counterparts. And a lot of Black business owners I know as well that really understand the value in using other people's money, leveraging their credit to be able to go borrow money and using that to get assets that can grow. And I mean, it's just something that we've not been taught. So I hope that we'll be able to do more teaching about that in our community, and keep these conversations going. In the meantime, I have dropped the link in the chat or in the comments, for how to find out more about the program at pathwaylearn.org/Nashville. Or you can just go to the Pathway Lending website. If you Google Pathway Lending Nashville, they'll come right up at pathwaylending.org, and you can find more information there as well. You can get signed up to talk to one of their counselors that will talk through it with you and kind of identify if it's a good fit for you, if it sounds like everything is in line. It's a 30-minute call. You can
It's
invest,
that long. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Have a quick call, find out, is it a fit? And if not, you're going about your business. If so, they're going to help you and help walk through the process and make sure you're all set. So, anything else you want to close up with, Thomas?
Yeah, well, I will tell you one other thing. By getting a loan through Pathway, once you do get the loan, we don't just leave you alone. Okay, we do have some coaches that are available that'll help you. If you have a question about something, or you're thinking about making a move and you need somebody else's eyes to look at something for you, that's what we're here for. So you not only do you get a loan, you also get a coach or a partner that will help you to continue to let your business grow, because that's what we're here for.
Yes, one of them is Key Dawson, and he's amazing.
He's the best.
Yes,
Yes.
Key has been fantastic help to me. I reach out to him anytime I have a random question.
Well,
So,
come on, y'all, just
yeah,
give us a call, and if you need us, let us know. We're here. It's a full-time thing for us. We're happy to help, and we really want to see the businesses, not just here in Davidson County, but all over the state, to grow. So, yeah, I invite you to set up an appointment with an advisor. They'll walk you through it and make sure that you're qualified, and before we go too far into the process, and then we'll see what happens. I'm really excited, and I thank you so much, Danielle, for just taking the time out to make sure that your friends know all about this, and I really am excited about seeing how this thing works out.
I'm excited to hear the success stories myself. So,
Well, we
I
have plenty
can't
of them,
wait.
and hopefully we'll be on the news again real soon with some more. But yeah,
Yeah, I saw my friend Martha, Luke
yeah,
Pie from A&M Marketplace. So, yeah, I know a lot of and Rhonda.
yeah. Rhonda was great. Well, actually, Rhonda had the Secretary of Treasury come see her
Yeah,
from
Rhonda is
the mayor. Yeah,
amazing.
that was really cool.
She has an amazing business. I mean, yeah. So, like I said, some of the most savvy business owners I know have gone through this process or borrowed from another organization in the past. So, it's nothing wrong with getting the money that you need to be able to grow
Nothing
your
wrong.
business. And I
That's
feel
right.
like grants are great. Love grants. Believe me, everybody love
Who
free money,
doesn't? Of
but
course.
they're few and far in between. So, sometimes we got to take advantage of what's in front of us, and we got to move fast, when we have an opportunity in front of us. Someone's asking for the contact information again, pathwaylending.org. If you go to pathwaylending.org, and at the top in the navigation bar, you'll see borrow. And you can click on borrow. I think it says take a line of credit or a loan. And when you click that, you're going to get a pop-up that asks you if you want to learn more about the Nashville Small Business Recovery Fund. And it'll take you directly to that page. Or you can go to pathwaylearn.org/Nashville. All right. Well, this was wonderful, Thomas. As always, I appreciate you. And again, I appreciate all the great work you all are doing at Pathway. And I especially appreciate the intentionality behind ensuring that Black business owners are included and have access as well. So We'll be talking again soon.
I hope so. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.